Hi everyone, here are 2 stories of the day. Remember to sign up and activate the bell. Got a nurse from hell into such bad trouble that she immediately recognized who I was when I went back for my next surgery 7 months later. Young nurse gets in serious trouble for abusing me after major surgery to save my life. And when I'm back in that same hospital 7 months later for the second of 2 required surgeries, she unknowingly comes into my room, then runs out really quickly when she realizes who the patient is. In January 2004, I had to have my colon removed because it was so ulcerated and shredded that I was dying of malnutrition and dehydration. While still in the hospital, I quickly learned how to empty my ostomy bag by myself during the day. But in the middle of the night it was trickier because I was in such bad shape, especially when they took me off morphine to transition me over to regular pain medication. I had a hellacious first night because my pain meds were still being sorted out and I had a tickle in my throat and about 50 staples in my abdomen. So if I started to cough while lying down, it hurt like hell and I risked pulling out my staples. And I couldn't get the head of my bed up fast enough to cough bent over with a pillow against my stitches like I was supposed to. I ended up spending the night sitting up in bed sipping warm water to try to stop the tickle. And when my bag needed emptying, I rang for a nurse to come help me because I was absolutely exhausted. One I hadn't seen before came in. When I asked her to please empty my bag, she got kinda snippy and told me I'd be getting discharged soon, so I had to practice doing it myself. I explained that I had been doing it during the day, but given what was happening that night I was in too much pain and was too tired to even see straight. Then she escalated. She told me I was being non-compliant and she was going to write me up in my file, say that I was resistant to practicing self-care, which could delay my discharge. I told her to go right ahead and I still didn't feel comfortable doing it myself. And if she didn't want to help me, I'd like to end the conversation and get a different nurse. Then she leaned over, got right into my face, and said, "I'm the nurse and I decide when this conversation is over." Then I just started crying and I went broken record, begging her to leave and go get me another nurse. She finally emptied my bag really angrily, then she left. When one of my absolutely wonderful regular nurses came in at the start of her shift later that morning, I told her what had happened. She was outraged and said Katie should be fired, and as soon as my doctor came to start her rounds, the nurse grabbed her and told her she had to come talk to me first. What a strange story, right? Let's start now with the second story. Want to accuse me of stealing? I'll make you look bad too. Thursday I found out I likely have thyroid cancer. While pretty treatable, and I'm sure I'll be fine, I've already survived cancer twice and hearing that word again has been difficult to say the least. After my shit day, I decided to go to a local gas station and buy a shitty pizza and some snacks to hang out in the local park. I had to use the bathroom, waiting for the woman who was in the bathroom. Immediately after I closed the door, she started yelling at me through the door that she had left her dollar. It took me a second to realize she was talking to me. But when I did, I yelled back to her that I didn't see it but I'd be out in a minute. I finished up my business and honestly had planned to just give her the dollar if she couldn't find it. As I just happened to have a dollar on me, I don't usually carry cash, and she seemed somewhat frantic like she needed it for a purchase. That was until she came out and again and started yelling at me that I stole her dollar, and how dare I steal a dollar from a homeless person. Honestly, thinking it was probably a scam, I didn't have the energy to deal with her and thought it was best to not interact. She continued to yell for a few minutes before huffing and puffing to the front. Someone helped her purchase whatever item it was she wanted as she talked crap about me to everyone there. As she was leaving, she turned back to me. I was now waiting in line and started yelling, "You're seriously going to steal from a homeless woman?" Honestly, she seemed in a kinda rough place, so I probably shouldn't have, and definitely wouldn't have usually, but I was at the end of my rope, so I snapped back. Looking her dead in the eyes, I replied, "And you're going to harass a woman with cancer over something she didn't do?" Everyone got really silent after that and she puffed out. Might be a bit of an off for that one, but honestly it felt good for a sec.